Good morning, YouTube. This is the LA Prepper, and today we are going to take a quick little political sidetrack into what's going on with North Korea. Here in the here on Big Brother's website, state.gov, or the Department of State's website, reading a press statement by Rex Tillerson, the current acting Secretary of State. And I gotta tell you, I feel better about him being the Secretary of State than Clinton. Lord. Anyways, so this article is what got me thinking about it. They're talking about North Korea taking dangerous steps, Trump taking dangerous steps to nuclear war by seeking naval blockade. So, Tillerson says right here, in addition to implementing all existing UN sanctions, the international community must take additional measures to enhance maritime security, including the right to interdict maritime traffic transporting goods to and from the DPRK. Something like the Democratic People's Republic of Korea or something. But anyways. So, why is that important? Why is North Korea important? Is North Korea important? It's important because historically we have aggravated other countries with blockades during war. Japan is a really good example. Some people think that Pearl Harbor was the result of a blockade with Japan, and since Japan thought that the blockade was an act of war, they wanted to respond in kind with the attack on Pearl Harbor. Now, I'm not going to get into a big World War II history thing here, but there are other examples of U.S. blockades in war, and it's very indicative of how America gets into wars recently. It's not as often with overt strikes as we see in Afghanistan and Yemen and other countries that we are currently at war with. Those conflicts are many, many years old and related to threats of terrorism and, spreading of democracy and that sort of thing. I'm a big supporter of the military. I'm not a big supporter of the military policing that our country is doing. The military industrial complex is a very, very large, powerful entity. So I don't know what the solution is to becoming a less militarized country, but it would be nice if someday we could be. But back to North Korea. So we have this country launching missiles. Now, if any of you all follow at least a little bit politics, you will know that Egypt and Libya and Iraq have all had significant changes to their leadership in recent decades, largely as a result of U.S. involvement or overt or covert involvement, trying to get the whole Arab Spring thing started, which part of it was organic, but I think part of it was fueled by Western powers trying to destabilize the region. So North Korea, understandably, is not very motivated to roll over and play dead for America because they know what's happened to Gaddafi. They know what happened to Saddam Hussein. And whatever you think about Saddam Hussein, the way that he lost power, the way that I think he was caught in a convoy by some rebels and tortured and killed and just treated kind of like an animal in his final moments. Sorry, that was Gaddafi. Saddam was hung. Gaddafi was dragged out of a car and beat to death. Just a barbaric way to go. Regardless of what the dictator did, just a barbaric way to be killed. So I understand why North Korea wants to fire off these missiles and wants to do nuclear tests. Obviously, I don't agree with the way that they're ruling their country with an iron fist, and there's probably a lot of North Koreans that don't agree with it either, but dissent is something not very popular in North Korea. As an American, I can make a YouTube video saying I'm not super thrilled about our military being overseas. If I was Korean, it would not be a good idea to make a video about not supporting my government. In fact, I would be making videos about how much I love my government and how much my leader is a perfect leader and all sorts of that thing. But thankfully, I'm not a North Korean. Through no hard work of my own, thankfully I was born an American. So, what's the point? What's the point of following North Korea? Are we gonna have World War III with North Korea? You know, I don't think so. But I wouldn't. I wouldn't also put it past our government if we continue to escalate matters. You know, they're in a corner. North Korea is an angry animal, and they're in a corner. They know that they have China's support, and they know that no one else in the region wants a war. Russia doesn't want a war. China doesn't want a war. South Korea probably doesn't want a war, although they do want to, retain their sovereignty. War is going to mean hundreds of thousands of deaths, civilian and military, especially against a country like North Korea that's essentially been continuing to prepare for a war for 60 years. We're not at peace with North Korea, neither is South Korea. And they have spent a large portion of their gross domestic product just building a military over 50 or 60 years. Now, it's not much of a military, but it's still a military, and they still have a lot of troops, and they have a lot of bunkers, and it would be as much of a nightmare as Americans trying to, fight the Japanese. They were really dug in the Pacific. To the extent where dying Japanese soldiers would, take out several Americans with them with explosives, and just horrific casualties we suffered beating back the Japanese in War II. And we suffered a lot of casualties in Korea as well as Vietnam. Attacking an entrenched enemy on their home soil is typically a losing proposition for the attacking force. Even if you win, it's just very, very difficult thing. Just like the Japanese, I don't know if it was the Japanese emperor or one of their generals that said something to the effect of, if you attack the mainland American soil, you're going to find a rifle under every blade of grass. Or let me find that quote. And they were talking about the Americans. If you fight American soil, every single American with a gun is going to pick up arms and fight off the Japanese. That's what they're... Yeah, you cannot invade the mainland United States. There would be a rifle behind every blade of grass. So some people are saying that maybe this quote isn't real, but even if the quote is a bunch of bullshit, it's still relevant because it holds a lot of truth. Can't help but check on some travel warnings here. Afghanistan, Algeria, Bangladesh, Burundi, Cameroon, Central Africa, Chad. Wow. There are a lot of places we're pissing off right now, or that don't like us. Honduras, Iraq, Israel, Jordan, Kenya, Israel, West Bank, North Korea, Pakistan, Philippines, Somalia, violent clashes in Donetsk and Luhansk have resulted in 9,000 deaths. Yeah, Ukraine is getting a little crazy right now, too. What is their worldwide caution? Wow. As terrorist attacks, political upheaval, and violence often take place without any warning, U.S. citizens are strongly encouraged to maintain a high level of vigilance and take appropriate steps to increase their security awareness when traveling. Smart traveler enrollment problem. Wow. So you tell the government where you're going just in case you get in trouble. That's not the worst idea in the world. God forbid you travel by yourself and you get locked up overseas and nobody knows what's going on. Extremists increasingly aim to assault soft targets. High-profile public events, hotels, clubs, places of worship, schools, parks, shopping malls, tourism, public transportation, airports. Wow, notice there are a lot of places where you can't carry guns. Not at the airport. In California, it's hard to open carry anywhere. Malls and parks and schools certainly don't want you having guns. Probably not in church. Hotels, clubs, restaurants, nope, they don't want you having guns. Sporting events, public events, nope, don't want any guns there. Man. Tell you, the world is a crazy place. Well, this video is getting a little off track, but I just thought I'd talk a little bit about North Korea. Definitely interesting what's going on there. You know, I don't obsess over it too much, but I do kind of keep an eye on it. Would my life change if World War III broke out? Yeah, well, all our lives would change, but, you know, until then, just gonna keep working on school, keep prepping, and keep on trucking. Like, comment, subscribe. What do you think about North Korea? Thanks so much for all your comments and subscriptions and watching the videos. I really appreciate all the feedback. And I will see you next time.